I guess young people were the final solution to trying to do certain things, to integrate certain places. Cross Keys restaurant, for instance. But today, it's been 50 years now since the civil rights movement, since the sit-ins took place and the freedom rides. What do you tell, and do you come across youngsters today, your children and young people who have no idea what went on back then, and what do you tell them about your participation? Why do you tell them you participated?
Well, I'm gonna be frank with you. I start to do schools and go and talk to kids. I take my pictures with me, and I address the kids who's in the 7th to the 9th grade, and I tell them discipline is the key. And don't think it was only blacks back then. It was white working with us. There was whites being beat up. They came out of the schools. It was Vanderbilt. It was Tennessee State. It was Fisk University. Fisk University had the center. They was the center of the whole country of teaching and educating people about nonviolent and direct actions. Now, in 1962 is when Lewis came back. John Lewis came back to Nashville from the Freedom Riders. Once they passed that bill, the Freedom Riders was over. He came back to Nashville. And the movement changed. And I was talking to the student, I said, you see all these pictures where they've been knocked down and beat up? It's because we got to a point where we was going to use direct action. That means like when Lewis came back, we went and started laying down in the lobbies of the Maxwell House. We started sitting down and laying down in the streets. We started to block the doors in front of Cross Keys and B&W. And that created friction. But we still had one thing like they taught about when we went to the classes up there, the First Baptist, is discipline. One thing about children, you can teach them discipline because they are willing to learn. Now, Horsley can tell you more about the teaching because he was my mentor.
Some people, you talk about nonviolence. Some people say, I couldn't have done that. If somebody spat on me, I would have had to hit them back. Or if somebody, later in Birmingham, after the movement here, saw the kids, the children, the water hose put on them, the dogs were sicked on them. How were you able to take that?
Well, discipline is the key, as it's already been mentioned. It really wasn't an option whether you would be violent or nonviolent. Nonviolent was completely necessary. But although it was still a philosophy that we subscribed to, that was something that was part of the civil rights movement from the early existence. Even during the freedom rides, it was talked about the importance of nonviolence. I always would tell the children, and I'd say to them now, the importance of being proactive, regardless of what you're subscribing to, or just that to become proactive, whether you want a safer community, whether you want better schools, you have a choice to either be a spectator, to allow other people to do it, or you can become a participator.
What did your classmates, you were in college, you were in junior high school, what did your classmates say to you, those that would not participate, those that thought they might have been too young to participate, those that thought they might get expelled from school? What would your classmates say? And then what did your parents say? Did your parents know?
Well, my parents didn't know. Even 40-something years later, my wife and family didn't know until the pictures came out at the public library and they saw me. And then I had to tell them all that I was a part of the civil rights action and movements. But back then I was living a dual role. My role that I was a Fisk University student.
Supposedly.
Supposed to be, I would go to school and then come back and go up to the lunchroom at Fisk at lunchtime with books. And
you would sneak out of junior high school
I would
first.
sneak out of Washington Junior High School and make that move, and then sneak back in. So at Fisk, if they found out I wasn't a student, I would have been totally kicked out of the whole group. Now at Washington, I used to come back and tell them all what's going on. In fact, I would tell them that we went downtown last week and the people spit on me, and you know, other people just didn't understand that. How could you let them spit on you? How could you let them hit? What happened? When I was at Fisk, they taught us to be disciplined. They would take us down there and rough us up. They would knock us around, and I was smaller than everybody else, so, you know, they thought I was a midget, so I went along with the program. White guys spit on me, other guys knocked me down.
About how tall were you then?
I was about 4'1", 4'5". I was real small. But when I talked to the leader could tell me when he used to take us down the base and beat it up. He know the people's name. They smacked me around so much down there. When I went downtown, I knew I couldn't hit back. I knew I couldn't cuss. I knew that I had to have discipline to protect everybody. If my students said they wanted to come up, we want to go with you. I said, well, can you intend to go up there and fight? He said, yeah. Well, you don't need to be with us then. You get all of us killed.
Why did you keep it, what you did, your participation, to yourself for all those years until the exhibit at the public library?
Well, it's probably like a lot of people that I run into used to be in there and asked them to be a part of this movement, and they do not want to be it because they don't want to remember it. One thing is that every time they saw my pictures, and I was in so many pictures, that the newspaper kept, the Tennessean kept it, they still have them, that the FBI and what's her name would pick that picture out and see who I was. Over the years, they said, hey, he got to be a leader. He's been here all the time. And what happened with that situation is that when you go out to get a job, people know who you are. And the white establishment wouldn't hire me, or they would fire me. When I used to talk about freedom, they get rid of me. They don't want freedom on the job. They don't want integration at that time. So it will always reflect back on me, and I will get fired. The people will laugh at me. They make fun of me. But they are enjoying what we integrate today.
Okay.